Hey everyone, this is an Amalgia video, and this is the Metroid Dread Basic Progression Guide Part 2, Journey through Cataris to Dairon. If you saw my last video and are following along in order, we ended Part 1 by killing the Corpius boss and then going to the nearest save point. This Part 2 picks up immediately after that and takes us to the next major zone in Metroid Dread, which is called Cataris. The new area is very large and full of fire hazards, many of them we cannot pass through. Unlike the first video, this part 2 does not end with a boss, and the main reason is because we have to pass through Cataris to get to another area called Diron. The Cataris boss is currently inaccessible, and we have to go accomplish things in Diron before we can backtrack and fight them. If you're lost in Cataris or having trouble with the lime green EMMI in this zone, this guide should be able to help you. We cannot kill the EMMI at this point, but I can show you some tips and tricks for helping to dodge it so you can get to Dairon smoothly. Also, as I mentioned in part 1, this series is mostly for basic progression, not total completion, but I do go out of my way to get some important power-ups that are located in Cataris. One last note is when I was recording the footage, I accidentally muted the tracks so there is no sound. So instead, in the background, I'll be playing random jazz music that I have a license to. If you found any of the Amalgia videos helpful, please subscribe as it really helps us out. Alright, and with all that out of the way, let's have a good time playing Metroid Dread. We're back on the first map in Ataria, right where we left off in part 1. This save station is one of the main junctures in Ataria, but the western way is now blocked once we've killed Corpius, so we're heading east. Jump through the northeastern door here to begin our run. Pass through the lower half and continue on. You can shoot the enemies here to protect yourself from their attacks. Run through this northeastern door and we find ourselves in a familiar hallway. Just reach the end and shoot the door to pass through. Like before, shoot the enemies and ignore the fire doors because we cannot traverse through them yet without a power that we will get much later. At the bottom of this shaft, we're going through this southeastern door, but you have to engage the Phantom Cloak to get through. This room has a lot of flying enemies. Shoot them to make traversing the room much easier. Climb the panel above you with Spider Magnet and then jump onto the Spider Magnet moving platform. Keep firing your Buster here because there are many flying enemies that will try to knock you off. If you fall, it's not the end of the world. There's just a big red enemy down there you can kill with a counter and then try to get back up again. Once you're through the door, just be patient with these fire spouts. You'll find an opportunity to be able to climb past them and then shoot the flying enemy here. Right above you is the transport to Cataris. Just stand on it and it will automatically execute once you select yes. There's a small cutscene here and it may take some time to play out, but once you're in Cataris, you will wind up in this room. The obvious door actually leads to some dead ends, so we're actually going to head left here, shoot the wall, and get through to another path. These reddish worm enemies keep digging through stone surfaces, and you can just keep shooting them until they die. They have a little bit more HP, but they're not too difficult. Here, after you've dispatched the enemies, wait for the fire to disappear and jump down the shaft. Again, the difficulty here is mostly mopping up the enemies and having patience so that you don't get hit by these fire spouts. The real challenge is this enemy down here. He's not too bad, but he'll cover an entire platform almost with the length of his attack. You can kill them with missiles, but the easiest way to deal with them is to actually run up and counter them when you see this silver flash. That will instantly kill them if you follow up with a buster shot. Here I'm just being unnecessarily stubborn, but now we're going to head down and go through that yellow door to the west so that we can go to the next power station to check in with Adam. Adam just tells us a few things here that we already know. The first being that we can't go in high temperature areas without a power up to our suit, and that we don't have it right now. He also tells us that we need to find a shuttle somewhere above us so that we can travel to another area to find a way to proceed. He doesn't specifically mention Dairon, but that's where his suggestion leads us. The last thing he mentions is that we can't kill EMMIs outright, and so that we need to use the Phantom Cloak and our own ingenuity in order to avoid them without dying. My last video explained how the Phantom Cloak worked, and at this point you should be at least vaguely familiar with it, so I will skip the rest of Adam's explanation so we can get back to the guide. After you're done talking to Adam, it will give you the opportunity to save, so make sure to do so you can record your valuable progress. We're now heading left out this door to continue our journey through Cataris. There's a block above us that we don't have a power to pass through yet, so ignore it for now and head down. These enemies with the tentacles in the walls will fire at you the second they see you. There's a small window to counter them, and it's a little difficult, but just keep in mind that you can. Head through this southeastern bronze door, counter another flying enemy, and then head through that yellow door so we can get to that thermal station. These are the same as in the first video, and we use them to redirect the lava flow so we can get through new doors. As you can see here, the redirected flow opens that horizontal barrier on the other side where we came from. The problem is that we can no longer get through the bronze door that we used to enter here because of the redirected flow. Shoot this block out here and then slide under. This statue will refill your health and ammo if you need some. From here, we're heading up, shoot out this heart in the wall to blow it up, and then kill these flying enemies carefully so you don't take damage. Now head through the yellow door to the west. As you can see, this was how we were supposed to loop around so that we can get to the horizontal door that's now open and bypass the one that we are now locked out of. Head down and head to the west here. Another door opens, and then there will be a bunch of flying enemies for us to deal with. You can dispatch them just by shooting them at a distance or countering them when they do their dash. This mechanism here is already active, so we don't have to do anything to it. We just jump on the spider magnet panel and climb. There's a hidden block here that we need to use a charge shot or a missile to uncover, but we don't have the power to deal with it yet, so you can just uncover it so you know it's there for later. Here I countered both enemies at the same time, which I wasn't even sure could happen, and the shot killed the aerial enemy, but not the silver one, so make sure you get the silver one as he's more dangerous. This up here can be a problem because you have a hard time countering him when he's on the ceiling, so just stand at a range and snipe him with missiles so you don't take any damage. Now climb the blue panels with Spider Magnet and shoot the aerial enemies. Like the part earlier in the video where we rode the platform, there will be more aerial enemies looking to knock you off. If you fall down, you have to deal with a silver enemy by countering it, so it's not that bad. Up here, be very careful, more careful than I was, because these enemies will just fly at you on an angle. Like I said, you can counter them, it's just the timing's a little difficult. The door up here leads to a too hot zone, so shoot out that heart in the wall and slide to enter the next area. These small enemies here that jump out of the rocks, they will keep perpetually spawning. They're not too difficult to kill. It's just there's no way to get them to stop, but if you need to farm health or missiles or something, it's good to shoot them. After sliding through that western door, there will be a bunch of pillars. We just have to shoot them to clear the way. Another slide and we're on our way forward. We're encountered with a door that we don't have the power to open yet, but it leads to a too hot zone anyway. These enemies in the walls are a little tricky. They spawn and then they shoot fireballs on random trajectories, but they're not too bad if you can get underneath them while they're vertical. You can also counter them even when there's no silver flash to knock them back if they're descending on you. Up here there's a heart in the wall. You can shoot it to reveal a doorway, but it's a too hot zone so we can't go in there yet. Instead, we have to climb up here while avoiding enemies in order to get to the next EMMI zone. The EMMI zones in Cataris are uniquely perilous. This lime green robot has the ability to make itself small and crawl through small tunnels that the one in Artaria did not have the ability to pass through. The Phantom Cloak will be invaluable for survival here, but like I mentioned in my first video, the biggest boon to your survival is actually being able to chart a path ahead of time so that you know exactly where to run. It may be wise to pause your game and watch the path I take in this video so that you know where you're going so you can minimize the amount of time you are in this zone. In this room, we are heading through the charge shot door in the northeast. If you look at the minimap, the EMMI shows up as a red dot, and here he's detecting me, so I'm backtracking to try to escape. Exiting an EMMI zone completely can reset their location. The problem with the EMMI zones in Cataris, though, is that they run very short paths, and they're intentionally placed so that you will have to deal with them more frequently. Always keep an eye on which direction the EMMI is heading before you take off your Phantom Cloak. You can fall while the Phantom Cloak is on without triggering sound, but sometimes it looks like an EMMI is heading away, but then it will immediately turn around and come back, even if it's not detecting you. In here, we're heading through that northeastern door that you can open with a single shot. This room can be very tricky depending on where the EMMI is. You want to slide down to the bottom, and there's a charge shot door down there that you can open if you have enough time. If you don't have enough time, don't worry about it and get through this door to the east. If you're being chased, you can step on that platform to lock the EMMI out, but you have to keep moving as it will try to find another way to get to you. In here, we're going to head northwest through this charge shot door. In here, we're climbing upwards, trying to get to the northeastern door here so we can exit the EMMI zone. We can take a very brief breather here and step on the thermal flow switch so we can change the power. We will be heading back into the EMMI zone soon to go through a horizontal barrier that we can now get through to exit the EMMI zone from a different direction. But first head right because there is a save station here and we need to record our progress. After you've saved, you can ignore that eastern door there, as it leads to a dead end that we can't get through yet. Now we're heading back into the EMMI zone and backtracking a bit. Head down this shaft and go down the southeastern door that we came in through originally. In this room, we're following the flow of the magma pipes, and we're going to go through this horizontal barrier that's now open so we can exit the EMMI zone. We will have to pass through here again in the future by changing the magma flow once more, but for now, just climb up this shaft and shoot the enemies that come out of the walls. This southeastern door is a fire zone, so despite me opening it, you don't want to head in there right now. Dispatch this silver enemy, and then keep passing through as you can't jump on these spider magnet panels yet. Shoot the flying enemies, and there will also be another enemy in the wall here, so use missiles if you have to take care of them. If you look at that open door down there, it looks like fire's coming out of it, but it's actually coming out of the door beneath it. So use the Phantom Cloak to pass through here, and you will not be entering a heat zone, so don't worry about that. In this room, slide under the barrier and use one full charge shot to activate the generator. This will activate the spider magnet panels we saw in the other room, so we can now climb them and advance. All we need to do for this part is just backtrack a bit. Here we're going to take a small detour to get that missile tank since it's not that far out of our way. And for some reason hitting that switch dropped one of the fire zones that we couldn't get through before, so now we're going to try to head through it. Dispatch these enemies on the ground floor so you can get through this room. We're going through that western door there, and then we're going to drop down. The Ember Wind should no longer be coming from this door, so pass through. Be careful about the silver enemy on the ceiling, although he is close enough to the ground where you can counter him pretty easily. Use your charge shot and enter this room. There's the missile tank, and now here's a stone enemy. The easiest way to deal with them is counter. It's just very difficult to see the timing. It's just basically when they start to charge the laser in their face, you can counter them pretty much right away even if you don't see the silver flash. Now we're heading back so we can finally climb those blue spider magnet panels that we got moving with the generator. In this room, watch the enemies on the walls and go through that northeastern door again. In here there will be more flying enemies and the silver enemy like we saw before, and just dispatch them better than I did here. Now here, shoot the flying enemies so they don't knock you off the panels. On the right side, it leads to a dead end with a wall that we can uncover, but the door we can't get through yet. It has both fire problems and a type of energy barrier that we don't have the power to get through. So while I explored up here, we want to go up the left side. Once you're up here, ignore that yellow door for now. We will come back for it. We want to go through that door to the northwest. This room is very simple, and now just pass through it so we can get to another cooling station where we redirect the thermal flow. This is a very important progress mark that opens a number of important doors and allows us to get an energy tank and a partial energy tank. In here, just backtrack, but know you have to use the Phantom Cloak to get through this door. Kill this flying enemy in our way, and now we're going through the yellow door we ignored earlier. You can open it with a charge shot. In here, be careful with the enemy on the ceiling, as he can hurt you if you don't kill him fast enough. This door up here we will be coming back for, so you can uncover it if you want, but we can't pass through it just yet. Right now we're heading down here. You can refill your health and missiles at this station, and then the door straight to the left leads to the save station. After you've saved your game, we're heading back to the EMMI zone that we were in earlier. The difference now is that there will be a new door that was not open to us before, and we need to pass through it. In this next room, the horizontal barrier will be open now. There is an exit to the EMMI zone down here, but it does lead to a dead end for the time being. I'm just passing through it because the EMMI detected me, so I'm resetting his position and then going back in. The door we want to go through is this one here to the southwest. Shoot it to open it and continue through the EMMI zone. I came through this room multiple times, and if you look at the minimap, you can see the EMMI on it. I found that the EMMI likes to pass through this room often. It is a little risky, but you can use the Phantom Cloak and drop down here, and hopefully if it hasn't already detected you, you will be safe, and you can just wait for it to pass by before passing through. Now head out this western exit here and shoot out these blocks so you can advance. You'll have to slide through one of them. Now head through this southwestern door, but you will need the Phantom Cloak in order to progress. As long as the EMMI is not in this room already, it's pretty easy to just pass through here. If it is advancing on you, you can cling to one of those top panels with the spider magnet and then initiate the Aeon Cloak. As long as it's not already in a yellow lock tracking you, it should pass right under you. In this room with the cool dragon, we don't have the power to get through his mouth, so we just ignore him for now and head through this western door. In here, there are red enemies digging through the ground and ceiling, but you can just pretty much ignore them if you dodge the one on the ceiling with a slide, but I got a little stubborn about killing them. Anyway, head west and continue on. In here, you can ignore that cool contraption for now and shoot the flying enemies to make your life easier. You can blow up this heart that's lodged in the wall there for later, but we're not going to go through there right now as it is a fire zone. Jump on this spider magnet panel and it will bring you to the other spider magnet panel so you can ride that one up. There will be some flying enemies up here, but also a lava enemy and some of those small enemies that run around platforms. Just try to shoot everything preemptively as it makes passing through here much easier. There's the lava enemy, you can kill him with missiles to make things quicker. And then over here, we are going to go through this eastern door. This room is another power/network station where we get to talk to Adam again by re-establishing the connection. He says literally nothing of value, so I'm going to skip his entire explanation. It's basically you can't kill an EMMI even at full power, but if you find more mysterious energy in the future, you can. Until then, use the Phantom Cloak. That's it. Now we're heading out this eastern door here, and we're going to be coming up on an EMMI zone shortly. In this room, there's a heart in the wall that you can blow up and a stone enemy. You don't really have to fight them, but I do like to uncover openings just in case for later. It leads to a fire zone, so we just want to ignore it. When you're ready, head into the EMMI zone. In here, the EMMI's pathing is a little annoying, and I found the best way to deal with this area is with speed. If you go slower and more cautiously, there will be parts where you're forced to hide from the EMMI, and there are flying enemies around specifically placed to knock you off of walls and get you caught. But if you run through here very quickly, you can usually escape him without a problem. We're heading to a southeastern door here that you need to slide to get through. Ignore the missile tank for now. You can shoot this enemy here in case you need to hide on that platform, but just move quickly and head east. This will let us exit the EMMI zone safely, and we find ourselves in a map station. The map shows how dauntingly large Cataris is, but we're going to ignore most of these zones as we can't do anything with them for now. Make sure to save your game after you've downloaded the map to record your valuable progress. We're heading through this eastern door, and now we're going to enter the EMMI zone from a different angle. Climb this spider magnet panel here, the inner one, not the one on that right wall, and then enter the EMMI zone door to the northwest. Our time in here will be brief. Ignore that door down there as we do not have the power we need to open it. Jump on the spider magnet panel and ride to the top and then exit through the northeastern zone. In this area, shoot or counter the flying enemies, then slide while the fire spouts are down in order to proceed. Shoot these flying enemies, and now we're going to get both of those energy tanks you can see there. The purple one is the most important one as it will permanently give us a full another health bar. Under here, the fire spouts do not stop, so just slide to get past and then activate this generator with a charge shot. The generator does two things. It not only opens up a path that was blocked to us before that allows us to backtrack, but it also drains the lava from the lower track so we can pass through it. Alright, after the little cutscene, run back the way we came. In here, the fire spouts on the ground will now be turned off, but you still have to deal with those flying enemies once you slide through the gap. We're heading back into the EMMI zone so we can backtrack. Here, I unfortunately did not get the phantom cloak up fast enough, and he already yellow detected me. I was hoping he would go a different direction, but he did climb directly at me. Fortunately, I was able to get the first counter timing and escape, as stunning the enemy will give you ample time to make your exit. Leave through the southeastern door and head down. In here, we are climbing the spider magnet panels that were activated by the generator, so we can enter another EMMI zone. You want to shoot the flying enemies, and at the top here there's going to be an exploding enemy that launches itself at you. If you're quick, you can counter, but you can also try to just drop through fast so it can't get to you. In this EMMI zone, he likes to start nearby, but fortunately, we're just going to go through this northeastern gate and then run right out, so we're only in there for a few seconds. Save at this save station so we can record our progress. Now we're heading out this eastern door. There's a health station here. It won't refill your missiles, but hopefully you have some stockpiled. These small enemies running here on the outer wall are easy to dodge, but this one here on the wall shooting the fireballs, you can either kill him or try to ignore him if he's not in your way. Either way, we're heading through this northwestern door that no longer has fire coming from it, so we can get in there. Open it with a charge shot. In here, you're going to drop down and slide through the hole, but be careful of the red enemy as he can burrow his way through the gap and hit you. The enemy is slow moving, and you can either shoot it or ignore it by jumping over him. But for now, we're going to head up these spider magnet panels and pull that platform down by standing on it. That will open a later path we'll use to get to the purple energy tank. The enemies in here are annoying and hard to ignore, so just shoot them with missiles if you have to in order to make it easier to clear your way. Use wall jumps to climb onto that upper platform, but be wary as there will be two enemies on the ceiling that will shoot those random fireballs. Take them out with missiles to make your life easier. Slide through this gap and we can get our first E-tank part. This isn't a full energy tank, it's only a quarter of one, but we gotta pick up these parts so that eventually we can get a full energy bar. The purple one that we're heading to now though will give us one full bar, and so it's extremely useful. Since we climbed on that spider magnet panel to pull down that platform, now we're going to walk around so we can get access to the purple energy part. Head down here and go through this eastern door. Now shoot the flying enemy and head up through the northwestern door. In here we're heading northwest again. There's really no enemies around here, so don't worry about it. Now we can get through here and get the full energy tank with 100 more HP. Counter to this rock enemy here as it's charging its laser, and then we're heading through that northeast door real quick. You really only have to come in here if you need missiles or ammo, but if you don't, you can just skip this part of it and we head west. You can just pretty much ignore this enemy. I just got stubborn and wanted to kill him, but there is a thermal flow switch that we are going to step on right next to here so that we can continue on our way through the bronze door. We were in this room once before, but we were on the lower level because we can't get through that block yet. Counter the silver enemy to kill it, and then keep advancing upward. Mop up the flying enemies here so you can jump through the gap. On the left side here, there's a block that we can shoot out, but we can't pass through it yet. We have to come through from the other side. It mostly just serves as an exit in case you want to get back to this side. We're heading up this northeastern wall here, and then cutting back west. Here there is a kind of a suspicious area, and when I shot at it with missiles, I was able to reveal a kind of block that we don't have a power to open yet. If you just want to reveal it so you remember that it's here later, do so that you can come back for it. There are more flying enemies that explode here, but you can kind of bait some of them and then dodge back so that they blow themselves up without being able to get you. Clear out the enemies over here, and we're heading down. We're going to exit out a southwestern door. We've made substantial progress, and this is the teleporter that takes you to Dairon. I checked over here to see if there was anything, but couldn't find anything, so just jump on the switch and begin your transport. After the loading cutscene plays, just head west in this room to enter the first part of Diron. We are not going to be exploring this area in depth, as that will be for my next video, but I am going to get you to the nearest save station. Enemies in Diron have more HP than we are used to, so make expeditious use of the counter in order to progress smoothly. You don't actually have to drop down here and fight this silver laser enemy, but I hadn't seen him before, so I was just a little curious to see what he was capable of. He dies with a counter, but I assume there will be some climbing the walls where you can't easily counter them, so take him out with missiles at a distance, but be wary that his long linear range is very dangerous. We can uncover these suspicious blocks here, but we can't do anything with them yet. So we're heading left, and then we're shooting a hole in the floor to progress down. The green enemy will attack you as soon as you fall, so just be ready. I was not in this video, so learn from my mistakes. There will also be a silver laser enemy, and we can't really counter him, so just use missiles. Fortunately, if you're hurting here, there's an HP station. It won't refill your missiles, but it's better than nothing. And now we're heading west into the safe station. If you're still with me at this point, congratulations on passing through Cataris and getting to Diron. It was a long journey, and you deserve a break. If I get around to making part 3, I will pick up right here, and then we can continue our journey together. As always, if you found any of the Amalgia videos helpful, please subscribe, as it really helps us out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.